Last week, I received a message that absolutely broke my heart. A viewer wrote to me saying, "I must have been a terrible mother. My kids never call anymore." She ended her message with 4 words that haunt me. Where did I go wrong? I stared at that message for a long time because I knew she wasn't alone. In fact, I knew that right now, someone watching this video is asking themselves the exact same question. And I need you to hear what I'm about to say. Right now, in living rooms across America, people are sitting with this same crushing weight. They're staring at silent phones, wondering why the people they love most seem to have drifted away. They're replaying conversations from years ago, searching for the moment everything went wrong. They're carrying guilt that's eating them alive. But here's what's going to shock you. In most cases, they did absolutely nothing wrong. The distance you're feeling, the silence that's grown between you and people you care about, it's not a reflection of your worth. It's not proof that you failed. It's not even about you at all. Today, I'm going to share 6 truths that will completely change how you see the relationships in your life. These aren't feel-good platitudes. These are hard-earned revelations from people who've been exactly where you are right now and found their way out of the guilt. If you've ever whispered to yourself, "What did I do wrong?" this message will set you free. The first truth is going to sting before it heals. Distance is not always personal. It's developmental. Picture this. You raised your children to be independent. You taught them to think for themselves, to chase their dreams, to build their own lives. You did your job so well that they became exactly what you hoped they'd become. Self-sufficient adults. And now you're heartbroken because they don't need you the way they used to. Do you see the heartbreaking irony in that? The distance isn't happening because you failed as a parent. It's happening because you succeeded. Your children are living proof that you did something right, not wrong. But our culture has sold us this toxic lie that love equals constant contact. That if someone truly cares about you, they'll call every day, visit every weekend, share every detail of their lives. This is not only unrealistic, it's unhealthy. Think about a river for a moment. Rivers don't flow in straight lines. They meander, they curve, they split into different branches. But they're still connected to the same source. Families work the same way. People flow in different directions, but the connection remains. Your daughter, who moved across the country for her career, she's not running from you. She's running toward her future. Your son, who seems too busy to talk, he's not rejecting you. He's building the life you taught him to build. Here's what changed everything for me. I stopped asking, "Why don't they call more?" and started asking, "How can I make the calls we do have more meaningful?" The difference is profound. One question breeds resentment, the other breeds connection. Instead of counting the days between calls, I started treasuring the moments within each call. Instead of measuring love by frequency, I started recognizing it in quality. Instead of keeping score, I started keeping gratitude. And you know what happened? The relationships got better, not because people called more, but because I stopped making them feel guilty when they did call. The second truth will challenge everything you think you know about friendship. Relationships have seasons, and some are meant to end. This one is hard to swallow. We're taught that friendships should last forever, that if a relationship fades, someone must be to blame. But that's like expecting every tree in a forest to live for the same amount of time. Some friendships are meant to be lifelong oak trees, strong, enduring, weathering every storm. Others are meant to be cherry blossoms, spectacular, beautiful, but brief. Both have value, both serve a purpose. The friend who got you through your divorce but drifted away afterward, she wasn't using you. She was exactly what you needed when you needed it. The neighbor who was like family when your kids were small but became distant when they moved out, he served his purpose perfectly. This doesn't diminish these relationships. It honors them. It acknowledges that they were complete, not broken, but finished. I learned this lesson the hard way. For years, I carried guilt about friendships that had faded. I would lie awake replaying conversations, wondering what I'd said wrong, what I could have done differently. I was torturing myself over relationships that had simply run their natural course. But here's what those who've lived long and observed life closely tell us. The friends who matter most aren't necessarily the ones you see most often. They're the ones who, when you do connect, make you feel like no time has passed at all. They're the ones you could call at 3 a.m, even if you haven't talked in 3 months. Quality over quantity isn't just a saying, it's a survival skill for meaningful relationships. I want you to try something this week. Instead of feeling guilty about the friends you've lost touch with, feel grateful for what they gave you when they were in your life. Send them good thoughts, wish them well, and let yourself off the hook for not maintaining a connection that was meant to be temporary. The third truth might be the most liberating. Your worth was never tied to being needed. This one hits deep because so many of us built our entire identity around being indispensable. We were the mom who had snacks for the whole neighborhood, the dad who fixed everyone's cars, the friend everyone called with their problems, the employee who stayed late to help colleagues. Being needed felt like love. It felt like proof that we mattered. But then life shifted. Kids grew up and started solving their own problems. Technology replaced skills we'd spent decades perfecting. Younger people took over roles we'd held for years, and suddenly the phone stopped ringing with requests for help. If your sense of worth was built on being needed, this transition can feel devastating. It can feel like you're becoming invisible, irrelevant, forgotten. But here's the truth that will set you free. You were never valuable because you were useful. You were valuable because you exist. Your worth doesn't decrease when your usefulness does. If anything, your value increases because now it's based on something deeper than function. It's based on wisdom, presence, and the unique collection of experiences that only you possess. Think about the people you love most in your life. Do you love them because of what they can do for you? Or do you love them simply because they're them? The way they laugh at their own jokes, the stories they tell, the way they see the world. That's exactly how the people who truly love you feel about you. Not because of what you can fix or provide, but because of who you are. I met a woman recently who told me she felt worthless because her adult children had stopped asking for her advice. They used to call me about everything, she said. Now they figure things out on their own. I asked her, what if they're not rejecting your wisdom? What if they're using it? What if you raised them so well that your voice has become their inner voice? Her whole face changed. She hadn't considered that possibility. She thought being needed less meant she mattered less. But the truth was, she mattered so much that her children had internalized her wisdom and made it their own. That's not failure. That's the ultimate success. The fourth truth requires courage, but offers incredible freedom. Your regrets lose their power when you stop hiding them. We all carry regrets. Things we said that we wish we could take back. Things we didn't say that we wish we had. Chances we didn't take. Chances we took that led to pain. Relationships that ended badly. Relationships that never had a chance to begin. The mistake most people make is treating regret like a shameful secret that must be buried deep. They carry these regrets like stones in their pockets, growing heavier with each passing year. But those who've found peace in life share a common practice. They've learned to transform regret from a prison into a teacher. This doesn't mean dwelling on past mistakes or torturing yourself with what-ifs. It means acknowledging your regrets honestly, learning what they have to teach you, and then, this is crucial, sharing that wisdom with others. When you share your regrets with trusted friends or family members, something beautiful happens. You discover you're not alone. You discover that the mistakes you thought made you uniquely terrible are actually part of the common human experience. More importantly, you discover that your regrets, when shared with wisdom, can become gifts to younger people who are facing similar choices. Your failed marriage can become advice that helps someone else's relationship thrive. Your career mistakes can become guidance that helps someone else avoid the same pitfalls. I know a man who spent years regretting the way he handled his son's teenage rebellion. He was too harsh, too controlling, and it damaged their relationship for decades. Instead of taking that regret to his grave, he started sharing his story with other fathers of difficult teenagers. "I wish I'd listened more and lectured less," he tells them. "I wish I'd remembered that his rebellion wasn't about rejecting me, it was about finding himself." That regret, which once ate him alive, became the foundation for helping dozens of families avoid the same pain. His mistake became his ministry. Regret doesn't have to be a life sentence. It can become a bridge to wisdom, connection, and purpose. The fifth truth will surprise you. Joy doesn't disappear when life slows down, it just gets quieter. Our culture is obsessed with loud joy, the kind that makes good social media posts, graduation parties, wedding celebrations, promotion announcements, new babies, big vacations. But what happens when life quiets down? When the big moments become less frequent? Many people start to think joy has packed up and moved away. But that's like thinking music has ended just because the cymbals stopped crashing. Joy doesn't disappear. It becomes more subtle, more present, more available in ordinary moments. It transforms from fireworks into fireflies, smaller, gentler, but no less magical if you know how to see them. The joy of quiet moments is different from the joy of big celebrations, but it's no less real. It's the quiet satisfaction of a morning coffee that tastes just right. It's the unexpected phone call from an old friend. It's watching birds at your feeder and actually knowing their names. It's the comfort of a routine that fits your life like a well-worn sweater. This isn't settling for less. This is graduating to something better. It's the difference between a rock concert and a symphony. The rock concert is loud and exciting, but the symphony reveals layers of beauty that reward careful attention. The secret to finding this quieter joy is learning to pay attention, not scrolling through your phone during your morning coffee, but actually tasting it. Not having the TV on during dinner, but actually noticing what you're eating. Not rushing through your day, but pausing to notice what's beautiful right now. Joy rewards mindfulness at every stage of life. It's there waiting for you, but it won't compete with distraction. I started keeping what I call a joy journal. Each evening, I write down 3 moments from that day that brought me happiness. At first, it was hard. I was so focused on what was missing that I couldn't see what was present. But after a few weeks, something shifted. I started noticing beauty everywhere. The way sunlight hit my kitchen table, the sound of rain on the roof, the feeling of clean sheets, the laughter of children playing next door. Joy hadn't abandoned me. I had abandoned my ability to see it. The sixth and perhaps most liberating truth: planning for your future is an act of love, not surrender. This is the conversation most people avoid until crisis forces their hand. Where will you live if you can't maintain your current home? What kind of care do you want if you become seriously ill? How do you want your final years to look? These feel like morbid questions, but they're actually empowering ones. Because here's what happens when you avoid them. Other people get to make these decisions for you, often in crisis situations, often without really knowing what you would want. But when you thoughtfully consider these questions while you're still healthy and clear-minded, you give yourself and your loved ones an incredible gift. You remove the guesswork. You eliminate the guilt they might feel about making decisions on your behalf. You ensure that your values and preferences guide your care. This isn't giving up. This is taking control. It's saying, I respect myself enough to think about my future, and I love my family enough to make this easier for them. I know a woman who spent an entire weekend having these conversations with her adult children. She told them her preferences about medical care, living arrangements, and end-of-life decisions. Her kids were initially uncomfortable. They didn't want to think about losing her. But by the end of the weekend, everyone felt relieved. The children said it was like receiving a roadmap for how to honor their mother's wishes. The mother said it was like being able to love her family even into the future. Some of the most peaceful people I know are those who've made these decisions thoughtfully and early. They've chosen their healthcare directives. They've simplified their possessions. They've had honest conversations with their families about their wishes. They're not waiting for life to happen to them. They're actively shaping the life they have left. When you weave all these truths together, they create something powerful. Freedom. Freedom from the exhausting weight of blame. Freedom from the crushing burden of perfectionism. Freedom from the impossible standard of maintaining relationships that were meant to evolve. The distance you've been torturing yourself over, it's not your fault. The friendships that have faded, they served their purpose. The regrets you've been carrying, they're teachers, not tormentors. The joy you thought was gone, it's been waiting quietly for you to notice it again. You haven't failed anyone. You've succeeded at the most important task of all. You've lived a full human life with all its complexity, beauty, pain, and growth. The distance between you and others isn't a gap you failed to bridge. It's space you've earned the right to fill with peace, self-compassion, and the quiet satisfaction that comes from a life well lived. Here's what I want you to do right now. I want you to forgive yourself for whatever relationship guilt you've been carrying. I want you to release yourself from the impossible standard of maintaining every connection at the same intensity forever. You are not responsible for other people's choices about how much contact to maintain. You are only responsible for showing up with love when contact does happen. You are not required to be needed by everyone all the time. Your worth exists independent of your usefulness. You are not obligated to carry regret like a life sentence. Your mistakes have taught you wisdom that can benefit others. You are not too old, too late, or too anything to find joy again. It's been there all along, waiting for you to have eyes to see it. And you're not selfish for planning your future thoughtfully. You're being responsible, loving, and wise. If these words have touched something deep in your heart, if you felt a weight lifting from your shoulders, I want you to do something for me. I want you to subscribe to this channel so we can continue these conversations together. Leave a comment below and tell me which of these truths hit you hardest. I read every single one. But most importantly, I want you to share this message with someone who needs to hear it. Because I guarantee you know someone who's been carrying the same guilt, the same shame, the same crushing weight of relationship blame. Sometimes the most powerful gift we can give someone is the simple reminder that they're not alone in their struggles and they're not to blame for the natural evolution of human relationships. Your story matters. Your presence in this world matters. And the distance? It was never your fault to begin with. Stop carrying that weight. You've carried it long enough.